Perfectionism is not the way. It's in the way. In fact, it is so much in the way that it can leave you with nothing. Think about that for a minute. Perfectionism can rob you of opportunities, relationships, growth, and even happiness. It sneaks into our lives under the guise of high standards, convincing us that if we just try harder or wait longer, we can finally get it just right. But in reality, perfectionism keeps us frozen, unable to start or finish anything meaningful. Funny enough, I wasn't even going to do this video today. It's been raining and cloudy, and I wanted it to be sunny and perfect. This perfect mindset has been a thief in my life for years, showing up in countless ways. But over time, I found that one approach has helped me in the past. It's the 70% rule. Today, I want to share how this simple principle can help you overcome perfectionism, stop procrastinating, and start building momentum. Along the way, I'll share some hard-earned lessons, like the time I got stuck picking a movie, antagonizing over choosing the right college, and even the time I lost tens of thousands of dollars because I procrastinated on a stock trade. Let me start with a story. When I was younger, Friday nights were movie nights. My friends and I would hit the theaters, grab some popcorn, and settle in. But here's the thing. Deciding which movie to watch was a nightmare for me. I would sit there scrolling through reviews, trailers, Rotten Tomato scores, obsessing over finding the perfect film. My friends, on the other hand, they would just pick something and enjoy it, but not me. I would spend so much time overanalyzing that by the time we decided, the best showtimes were gone. Or worse, we wouldn't go at all. Looking back, I realized this wasn't just indecision. It was perfectionism. Picking the wrong movie felt like a personal failure to me, so I would freeze up, overthink, and ruin the whole experience. And this pattern actually followed me into adulthood. Whether it was deciding on a college, making an investment, or starting a new project, the fear of getting it wrong often left me stuck. Perfectionism isn't about striving to be your best. It's about avoiding discomfort. Brené Brown defines it beautifully. Perfectionism is the belief that if we live perfect, look perfect, and act perfect, we can minimize or avoid the pain of blame, judgment, or shame. It's a 20-ton shield we lug around thinking it will protect us, when in fact, it's the thing preventing us from flight. This shield doesn't keep us safe. It weighs us down. It stops us from taking risks, learning from failure, and growing into who we are meant to be. This brings me to a hard truth I had to learn. The most valuable thing you can make is a mistake. Mistakes are where the real growth happens. But perfectionism tries to convince us that mistakes are failures when, in reality, they're just stepping stones. Perfectionism and procrastination goes hand in hand. And here's how they actually play out. First, it's before the task. You have a perfect idea in your head, but the moment you put it into action, it will no longer be perfect. So you delay starting, clinging to the illusion of perfection. Then, during the task, projects in progress are messy by nature. If you can't embrace the process, you might abandon the task altogether, chasing something new and untouched instead. And finally, after the task, once the project is done, all you see are the flaws. Instead of celebrating what you accomplished, you focus on what's wrong. This cycle doesn't just apply to creative work or chores. It can infiltrate life's biggest decisions. Take choosing a college, for example. This was one of the biggest decisions of my life, and perfectionism made it infinitely harder. I spent months antagonizing over rankings on USA Today, programs, financial aid, and campus culture. I would make a list, compare the stats, and endlessly second-guess myself. The fear of making the wrong choice loomed heavy over me. What if I picked a school that didn't live up to my expectations? What if I ended up unhappy or unprepared for my future? Instead of focusing on what I wanted from the college experience, I got lost in the pressure to make the perfect decision. In the end, I did make a choice, and surprise, surprise, it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty fucking good. And that was mattered. The truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect choice, only a good one where you are in life. Being done is better than being perfect. And sometimes the best way forward is simply to pick something and move on. This is where the 70% rule comes in. It's a mindset shift that changed the way I approach life. The rule is pretty simple. Aim for 70%, not 100%. And you might be wondering why 70%? And it's because it's achievable. It lowers the barrier to entry and helps you get things done without obsessing over perfection. Take the Wright brothers, for example. Orville and Wilbur Wright didn't achieve power flight by building a perfect plane on the first try. They made countless mistakes, changing and learning with each attempt. Their initial flights were short, rudimentary, and far from perfect. But they kept improving, going from 70% to 80% and eventually beyond. Today, we have planes that can cross oceans, break the sound barrier, and even reach supersonic speeds. We still have doors flying off here and there, but we got to this point all because they embrace imperfection and focus on progress over perfection. Their story reminds us that the most valuable thing that you can make is a mistake. It's through trial, error, and persistence that real innovation happens. The 70% rule works for 4 key reasons. Number 1, it lowers the barrier to entry. Starting is often the hardest part. When you set a goal of 70% instead of 100, you take the pressure off and make it easier to begin. For example, if you're trying to exercise, asking yourself to do the perfect workout can feel overwhelming. But if you aim for a good workout, just 70% of perfect, you're more likely to show up. The second part is the law of diminishing returns. Spending endless time polishing a project doesn't always make it better. In fact, the returns diminish after a certain point. There's a story about a photography professor who divided his class up into 2 groups. One group was tasked with taking one perfect photo. The other was told to take as many photos as possible. At the end of the semester, the best photos came from the quantity group. And the reason is pretty simple, because repetition led to improvement, while chasing perfection led to stagnation. Number 3, it helps you finish. Your body of work is only as good as the projects you complete. Perfect ideas don't matter if they never see the light of day. Let me say that again, because that's a word. Perfect ideas don't matter if they never see the light of day. Remember, being done is better than being perfect. And lastly, it reinforces the truth. The more you create, the more you realize that imperfection is not only okay, it's inevitable. This reinforces the idea that your work isn't your worth. Now, let me tell you about one of the most painful lessons I learned about procrastination. A few years ago, I was following a stock that I believe had huge potential. I'd done my research, analyzed the charts, and even set aside money to invest. But I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't because I wanted the time to be perfect. I kept waiting for the stock to drop over $1, another dollar here or there, convincing myself that patience would pay off. Days turned into weeks, and while I hesitated, the stock skyrocketed. By the time I finally decided to buy, the opportunity had passed. I missed out on tens of thousands of dollars in potential gains. Not because I didn't know what to do, but because I was paralyzed by the need to make the perfect trade. This experience was a harsh reminder that the most valuable thing that you can make is a mistake. Missing out taught me more about decisiveness than any win ever could. Here's how you can start applying the rule to your own life. Interrupt negative thought patterns. When you catch yourself obsessing over perfection, ask yourself this: was this better than 70%? And if the answer is yes, give yourself credit and move on. Number 2, focus on repetition and feedback. Each time you finish something, you do get better. Even if the results isn't perfect, the process helps you grow. And then finally, set your own threshold. Your imagined number might not be 70%. It could be 60, could be 80, or another number that works for you. The key is to lower the barrier to entry and keep moving forward. If you remember anything from this video, remember these 3 things. The most valuable thing you can do is make a mistake. Being done is better than being perfect. And continuously improving yourself is better than delayed perfection of yourself. So what's one thing you've been procrastinating on because you want it to be perfect? Try the 70% rule. Start out messy, but finish imperfect. And trust that progress will take you further than perfection ever could. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. Share how you tackle perfectionism or procrastination. And if you think a friend might benefit from this, share this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. And that's all for me. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.